Everybody want to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Imagine making a difference. No, imagine being the difference. The difference between I can't and I can, or I won't and I will. The reason someone chooses to wake up and strive for greatness. In life, it can feel like everything is working against you. Let's defy all odds and break generational curses. This is Overstepping Poverty with Daquan and Zachaeus. Welcome back to Overstepping Poverty, the podcast that provides you with tips, tricks, and hacks in overstepping poverty. My name is Daquan Brooks, and I'm here with my co-host Zachaeus Shaw. How you doing, Zachaeus?
I'm doing great today, brother. Super excited to be sitting under the OSP sign for this episode.
Hey.
I think our guests will see that this episode's going to bring us back to the basics, back to the beginning. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Of course, we have some big announcements. How are you doing?
I am doing great, man. This episode's going to be just insane. I'm super excited for it just because, a lot on what we're covering is the growth of getting here, the path that we built.
Right.
Everyone says, don't walk in line as and follow other individuals, make your own path. And that's exactly what we did here. And I'm just super excited to be able to reflect on that.
Yeah.
Especially with this being our 30th episode.
The big 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah,
like when people turn 30, they have these just extravagant parties and whatnot, because it's another milestone in your life. Pretty much they say that when you get to 30, like you're really growing up and your mentality changes. I feel like that growth for us has already happened to get here to 30 episodes. I'm going to be 30 next year.
Hey,
you'll be 30
same.
next year. Like, let's go.
Yeah,
the stars are aligning.
A lot of growth, like you said, and it's been a lot of fun, starting out doing the first 10 episodes of us really getting this thing started. We didn't always know what we wanted to do. And looking back on it, you've mentioned it. It feels like we gave people 10 key steps to helping them just become a better person.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Whether that's surrounding themselves around the right people, taking care of their physical and mental health, the simple thing, or it sounds simple, of just being vulnerable and putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of valuable things in those episodes. So if you haven't gone and checked those ones out, make sure you go back to the beginning and check those out, because that was really the foundation that we laid.
Yeah, it was the roadmap. It was the path, And actually, I want to go over each one of those because they've been kind of just sitting in my head. Our first episode, vulnerability. Second one, inner circle. You are the company that you keep. Physical and mental health is the third one. A better you is better for everyone. The power of your circle. You essentially are who is around you, power of the tongue. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
The words you speak is the house that you live in, be you. There's no other person like you in this world, and the world needs that. So a better you is better for everyone. Adding value, just the real currency of, anything is that value that you bring to the table, the giver's gain mentality. The more that you give, I promise in return that you will receive in return. Right. It may not be right away, but eventually down the road you will receive. Lift as you climb, not a hand out, but a hand up. And that's the motto. Like, let's go. As we continue to grow, you grow with us.
Right.
And the last two, mindset, it's the key to financial success, and not just financially. And we speak on currency as far as something that isn't just like the dollar.
Right.
Currency is much more than that. Like, what exactly are you bringing to the table? That right. If you have a good mindset, you're going to bring tons of knowledge, tons of just value to wherever room you step in, whatever table that you sit at. People are going to want you there always. People are going to reach out for you for guidance. They're going to reach out for you for health and for help and for any questions or anything. And then lastly, fairness. Man. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. So keep that in mind, that those 10 powerful things that we discussed,
Right.
it's out there for everybody. I love it. It gets me excited, man. It gets me super excited.
And I wanted to shout out our guy, Omar. I wear his bracelet that he gave me. And when it faded out, I had to get a new one. But it says always adding value. And that's his tagline. So look him up. But, that is what it's about, man. Adding value. Like you said, all those things are so powerful for people to just to get started.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not even jumping into the amazing people that we've had on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? So we've had a ton of great people on. But before we talk about those people, why don't you tell us about some big announcements that we have for Overstepping Poverty, OSP?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you guys know, this growth, this journey, for those of you that are listening to this episode, the Big 30, you have gone through thick and thin with us. You have started right at the start line, and you're not even nowhere near the finish line to where we're at. We're just getting to the not even midway point, I'd say.
Right, just getting started.
Exactly. Started from the bottom. Now okay, let me get back on topic here. But I'm telling you, we're just ending season 1.
Right.
Hear that, our followers, our viewers. We are just ending season 1. We're about to bring you season 2.
Facts.
Season 2 with some exciting news.
Yeah.
First, I want to put out there is our website. It's been going through just growth on that as well. Just making sure that every little thing is peak perfection for everyone that wants to be involved and be able to, of course, express themselves by wearing, of course, that OSP and what they believe in, what they stand in. Just kind of. And really just being able to help us as well. There's nothing in this world that's free, and we're totally fine with doing everything that we can to have this platform for people. But we know that if we can have a little bit of additional things to provide a bigger platform for our community and whatnot, that stuff costs. And some people hate to ask for it, but I mean, we ask for help on that as well. But yeah, so that, and then as well as the big news, dun, dun, dun. Season 2, episode 1, we are having Mayor Paul Tenhaken. You heard it first here.
Yes, sir.
The mayor is coming on here. And Zachaeus, I mean, there are some questions that you wanted to just kind of put out there and tell people to really email us, call us, message us, let us know exactly what they want answered from the mayor, because your voices need to be heard as well.
For sure. Yeah, I'm super excited to have the mayor on. For one reason, he's not always sitting down with everybody for an hour, and I feel that with us reaching out and him accepting that an invite, there's a level of respect, especially that I have for anybody that comes on the podcast. So I want to be respectful to him, of course. But like Daquan said, I do want to use our platform as a voice for our people at the same time. Just like the mayor would do as the mayor of our city, we also want to have the best interest for our people. So yeah, if you guys have things that, you guys want to hear about or us to talk about, I can't promise that we'll get to everything, of course, but we definitely want to hear the feedback that you guys have, some of the things you'd like to be answered, because as you guys know, there's a big year coming up.
There is.
And I don't like to talk about politics very much, but it's the inevitable. We're already seeing things pop up on social media, trying to divide us and all that good stuff, right? So I look forward to it. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are excited. I know Daquan is as well.
I am.
And I think man. I think it'll be a good thing to help us kick off season 2 and continue that momentum, that we've been building since before we even put out an episode, and going to be opening up our season 2 with the mayor of our city. I'm excited, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And ways that you guys can reach out to us with those questions. You can either email us at oversteppingpoverty@gmail.com. Of course, we do have a Facebook page that is Overstepping Poverty. We have an Instagram page, as well as Overstepping Poverty. If you just look it up, TikTok, I mean, just DM us, message us, email us. Unfortunately, we don't have a phone to call quite yet.
If you got our number, though.
You do, yeah.
If you got our number, reach out.
Send a text, call.
Reach out, man.
But nothing after 9 p.m.
Yeah, don't be playing crazy now. Some of y'all need to learn some boundaries.
Right. Talking about, hey, I know it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Man.
See, that was God telling you to just
Yeah, that's true.
leave that one alone.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to move on to a very special thing that we want to do here on the podcast today. And we want to give some of those people that we've had on our episode their flowers, man. We're so appreciative of them coming on and being vulnerable and being able to discuss their journey and be able to give insight on how exactly were able to become successful individuals. That was our main goal, to make sure that everyone is able to see not just that success there, but how you built that, how that platform that they made for themselves, whether it's their business, whether, their community leaders or anything like that. Like, you got to start somewhere, but the main thing is that you have to start.
Facts. That first step, man.
So let's get into that. So I want to call this, let's call it the fire round. Okay. It's something new. This is called the fire round. I'm going to name a name actually. And I want you to tell me exactly kind of what comes to mind when I say one of our special guests' name.
Okay.
I
like this.
All right. Perfect. So that first one, I'm going to go with Naomi Loro.
Naomi. The first thing I think of when I hear of Naomi is a trailblazer. And I think of somebody still super young who is beyond her time. She's somebody that I look at and admire because she's been able to, start her own business and be successful at that. But she hasn't stopped there. Right. She embodies, when I think about it, she embodies a lot of the characteristics that we talked about in those first 10 episodes. Right. The inner circle, the people she keeps around her. You don't really see her around too many people that aren't on their stuff. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, building something that isn't just only going to impact her. She's given opportunities to other people to do the same thing, and really build their own business, build their own brand, and not have any hard feelings when they're off doing exactly and spreading their wings like they should be, and getting things set up for themselves. So when I think of her, I just think, like I said, a trailblazer, pioneer, and a real leader for our community.
Absolutely.
For sure. What do you think of when you think of her?
Man, I think of she's her. You know that saying, like, hey, I'm him.
Go off,
she's
queen.
her. Yeah, seriously. Just a natural businesswoman, just someone who is able to just take that leadership role and not only just be a leader, but able to really transpire all of her knowledge, all of her leadership skills, all of that charisma, and give that to other people around them. Most people aren't able to do that. In the episode that we had with her, I discussed about her being the light to individuals, and she is. She's the light at the end of the tunnel. Just like it's a dark tunnel. You don't know exactly where things are going, but I know that if I follow Naomi, when I get down to the end of the tunnel, I'm going to be in good health. I'm going to be at the light. I'm going to be able to do just an abundant amount of things.
Right.
And that's what I think of. You don't have many people like her, around in this town. She has her own personality, and I said it before in one of our episodes there, to be you, the best you, and that's what she is. She's her.
That's fact.
So that's what I think of.
I agree. I like that. I got one for you.
All right.
I want to go with Soul Dibba.
Oh man, the wisdom that this guy has, he's way beyond his time.
For real.
In that episode, I enjoyed that episode so much because not only the path, of course, that he built for himself, but you can just see, like, whenever you ask him a question, just how deep down it comes right from the heart and the stomach. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he answers, it's with intention. And everything that he answers on the questions that we were asking him, it came with just so much knowledge. And the guy is young. He's young. He's way above his time. I don't know who sent him here, how he got here, but this guy, when he was in Augustana, he was an ambassador as well, just helping so many different cultures that just got over to the United States and making sure that they were on the right path, and that's just something big. Like there's so much here in the States that we only see like one vision. We're tunnel vision on.
Yep.
But when you bring someone from like a different country that has gone through so many things that we wouldn't even, dream of going through, like the bad things, those are nightmares. And then for him to come over to the United States with his family, knowing that his dad had gone through and he was in prison for 18 months,
Right.
Knowing that he had lost a brother, just knowing that his family has gone through so many troubling times, and for him to be so positive and still be able to be a leader out of that, that's insane to me.
I agree.
So
man.
I was super just thankful that he was on. I have to say, I've got a few episodes that we've done that are my favorite, and I appreciate everyone that has come on here. Every single episode that I do after that, I'm like, that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
That's true.
But I must say, like his episode, having him on here, like there was times where I just got butterflies just like talking to him. I'm like, how does this guy know all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought I was a smart individual. I thought I had, all this wisdom and whatnot, but to be able to learn and I learned from many of other individuals on here, but
Yeah.
great episode there. How about you?
It's kind of a different word for my vocabulary.
Okay.
But conduit, which is basically like somebody, it's like a bridge almost, helping somebody get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of him and just knowing him for the years that I have, and then having him on the podcast and actually being able to have a deeper conversation with him, it solidified what I had already thought, because he carries himself that same way.
Right.
And you don't even have to have a real conversation with him to feel that energy.
Yep.
For him, I think of him as a messenger. I think of him as, you mentioned it with Naomi. I see it with him as well, a light for people of all kinds. It doesn't matter where you come from. When I see him, I think of somebody that really genuinely cares about his community, about his people. Having him on the podcast was probably the first time I've ever actually like hung out with him.
Yep.
And I feel like I'd trust him with almost anything.
I love it.
Shout out to Soul. He's been doing his thing for a while. Make sure y'all get down there, check out his art and the poetry stuff that they got going on downtown. But no, he's an awesome guy.
I love it. All right, I got another one for you. One of the most recent episodes. Trife Mac.
Trife. When I think of Trife, I think of a very knowledgeable individual. Somebody that coming on this podcast was very vulnerable about his talents, his regrets, his experiences, all of those things. And when somebody is able to come on here and, most people when they get on video or get on social media, it's always the best things, right? You only hear or see the best things. Mm-hmm. Well, having him come on, he was able to share a different perspective on, look, like you can have all the talent in the world, you can do all these things, but if you're not focused, if you're not being yourself, if you're trying to be somebody you're not, you lose a lot of the gifts that have been given to you. And they just kind of get washed out over time until you start to find yourself again and you start to find yourself doing those same things. And, I learned a lot from his episode. And with him coming on here, it gave me goosebumps. He said, you guys are immortalized.
Yeah.
Like you guys could die and you guys are still going to have stuff up for your kids to see, your family to see. And that was powerful. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, his episode was very moving for me as well.
I got to go off of what you just said there because I had the exact same feeling. I think how he worded it is, your kids, they're going to see you on YouTube and be like, yeah, that was my grandpa. Did you guys see what my grandpa said? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And I'm like, I'm just like, oh my goodness,
man,
that's insane.
And that's overstepping poverty. That is generational. Now this is something that is going to live on forever, quote unquote, right? Yeah. Until it's no longer on the internet or we can't access the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, that is crazy to think about, that we're going to be able to have an impact for that long.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Crazy to think about.
The next one I got, and I think this was one of my favorite episodes, and I'll talk about why, but DJ Dante.
Man, having him on, there was one time that I met you for coffee and you're like, hey, you know what? I meet with Dante like every Tuesday and we sit for an hour and we listen to Bob Proctor. And you told me this multiple times and I'm like, gosh, I got to make it there. I'm like, who's Bob Proctor? Who is this guy? And it took me, I mean, it probably took me a month after even you telling me that weekly, actually, that I need to go there, where I'm like, okay, I need to watch Bob Proctor. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to Bob Proctor, okay? And he's giving all this advice and all this wisdom. And then we fast forward and we have DJ Dante on here. And he's on here giving us all this knowledge, all this wisdom. And I'm like, this guy is studious. He has to go home, you know, in his free time. He's listening to these knowledgeable people. He's reading these books. He's giving so much additional wisdom that he's learned from other people, putting it into his words, using their words. And then I'm like, I'm just overfilled with all this knowledge and all this wisdom.
Right.
And I'm like, this is someone that I need to be around. This is someone that if I'm out in public or anything and I see him, I need to go up to him and say hello. You know, I need to go up to him and be like, hey, your presence is always, you know, admired because you are a unique individual. And another thing is like, he went through his troubles as well. And instead of just like giving up or giving in, he taught himself things that he loved, and he took that to an entirely different level. He obviously loving music and being a huge follower of Nipsey and whatnot. He took that, he ran with it, became very good at what he does, works for Ben 201 weekly on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. He holds these events, and every single time I'm out and I'm talking to anyone, and dude, I'm so glad you guys had DJ Dante on your guys. He's so cool. He's so this. And I'm like, it's not just me that thinks these things. It's every individual that is around his presence. They see exactly what I see. And so, I mean, kudos, because having him on and being able to be a part of our network, because you knew him. I didn't know him before, of course, on that. It's just, it's fire.
Yeah. Going back to the Tuesdays, we haven't met on Tuesdays in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I've seen it firsthand where he'll call me. He actually called me today, but he'll call me and he'll be like, yo, I'm studying this book right now. Have you gotten to this chapter? I'm writing notes on it. I'll be like, no, I haven't. But like, he really is reading these books. He really is educating himself. And for him to come on here, you know, he got the braids, he got face tattoos, he got the jewelry, and a lot of people have a perception of just that image in itself. And then when he comes on here and is being vulnerable, talking about as a child, you know, what most kids know is they want to be loved. And for him to come on here and like be vulnerable and say those type of things, I think it helped a lot of people. Absolutely. Even if we never hear about those people, I guarantee you those words and the things that he was saying really helped somebody just be more themselves and be comfortable with who they are. And I loved having him on. Like I said, that was one of my favorite episodes just because of the authenticity that came from it. Right. He was very vulnerable, and I really enjoyed that interview.
Yes. And I do have another one for you, and that's Don Marie Johnson. Don Marie Joe Johnson.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't forget that one.
No.
Don Marie, I think of advocate, representation. Those are the first two things I think of when I think of her. You know, I get to see her every other week in one of our in like kind of like a group setting, and still am feeling the effects of just being around somebody like her. But when it comes to the podcast, at the time she was running to be on the school board and successfully did that and became the first woman, especially Native American woman in the state of in Sioux Falls, to be on the school board. And like I said, representation, it's something that is so important for our youth to be able to see somebody that looks like them and know that they can get there. and know that they can do those things. And just to see her with her daughter, Rain, and all the different things that she's exposed to through the hard work that her mother is putting in is beautiful to see as well, because I just know that she's molding people. She's helping people, whether it's in the schools or after school or wherever she goes, and really is putting her hand on our youth, you know, and really helping them, or at least trying to create a space where they're able to thrive and grow. And I respect that so much, because really they are our future. Our youth is everything, and they are important. And we as a whole, everybody, we need to do a better job of supporting them. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. You know, as adults, I'm not saying that we need to be given up on, you know what I'm saying? But as youth, your mind is still developing. You know, you're able to shape their mind in a positive way a lot easier than it is when it comes to adults. Adults, say you go into a job and you're promoting within. It's tough to promote from within because they know all of those habits in that one particular position. Yeah. And so then to break those habits, it's super tough. But if you have someone from without, they're easy to mold, to make sure that they are learning all the good habits. Right. And you see it in sales all the time. You know, when it comes to someone new coming into a sales position, it's super easy for us to be able to teach them the knowledge and for them to be just very welcoming of the knowledge that we're giving them. And that's what Don Marie is doing for our youth. Yeah. And that's what we need, because that's exactly where we need to start with. We want to change the world, and we want to continue to better the world as it continues in our kids, and, you know, as they become these leaders. It starts with the young, the youth. And that's exactly what she's doing. And on top of that, I think one thing that comes to my mind is just practice makes perfect. She's so well spoken. You ask her any question, it's like, she knows. And it's all genuine too. Right. But there's just something when someone is just so well spoken and just so fluent that I'm just like, wow. I like having conversations with you. Right. Again, we were very blessed to have her on our episode, and congratulations to her. Yeah, congrats again. That's huge. Absolutely. So shout out to Don Marie.
Yes, for sure. This last one here, and I just want to start out by saying, I don't think we had any other guests with more cuss words on an episode.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And I loved it.
Yep.
Right? Matt Roach.
Man. The old entrepreneur.
Yes.
It was built in his blood. You could just tell just the passion that he had for all the work that he does. When you build homes and you're creating these things, you're creating an experience that will be, a lifetime experience where people are making memories. They're good memories just for forever. And the work that he puts into these pride built homes that he does, I've driven past them and I'm like, this guy builds these.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane, just the beauty. But what's so nice about just having him on, and you said, someone who he had many cuss words, and that was fine, because you could tell just how authentic and just how passionate he was about everything that he was saying, about everything that he was doing. And you want someone like that, especially in the business that he's in. You have houses that just collapse. I don't see it on his. I don't. Right. These are homes that are in the parade of homes where people do walkthroughs on them, and they continuously ask every single year, hey, can we put one of your homes in this here? Like, that is monumental. That is something that most people just can't even achieve in a lifetime. Right. And for him to just be so relentless at it. So kudos to him on that there, but also just the energy, and he's a comedian for sure, but just the energy that he brings to the room. I'm just like, everyone lights up. It's like, you come into the room and he comes in, what's up, my guy? You know what I'm saying? Like and I'm like, man, I was kind of down, but like, I'm up now, right. So loved having him on. There was just so much information again that he was able to give us, especially just being in the very beginning stages of what we're doing as far as a business, as far as a podcast, and how we're going to try and, of course, do our best to help the community and give them a platform. He helped mold exactly where we were going. He gave us the right steps to get there. Mm-hmm. And in that podcast, he didn't only just give us steps. If you guys listened to it, he gave you guys steps as well. And he even said it. There was at one point of time where he was doing flooring and he had to decide hey, if I'm going to continue to do this, you got to make me a partner.
Right.
These are tough things that you have to ask of someone. These are tough things that you have to really go and confront someone about. These are tough asks. And the previous episodes, I said, my mom always taught me, if you don't ask, you'll never know the answer.
Right.
And that's one person that I know that if there's anything, he's going to ask. And
right.
that's something, that's a valuable lesson around that everyone needs to have.
Closed mouth don't get fed.
Exactly.
Right. No, with having him on, especially with him doing the HGTV with the down home fab and all those things, of course, I was very appreciative, and we both were, of having him on, because he is busy. Of course, we all are. But when you throw in adding a TV show on top of that, it just makes things a little more difficult to get time in. So appreciated that for sure. And you're right. All the information that he brought, whether it was the buybacks when we were talking about the socks, or talking about the parade of homes, with how he had people putting signs in the yard, and over time he realized that's leverage. You have an opportunity there as ad space, and just thinking outside of the box. You said it, and when you said it, I'm like, yeah, that's a perfect way to explain them. And it is relentless.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't see Matt losing or staying down for very long.
Right.
And there's people out there that, whether they like him or they don't like him, that's completely fine. I don't think he loses any sleep over it. But one thing is for sure, he's going to get up that next day and he's going to go to work. And he's going to do what he needs to do to help provide for his family. And I really appreciated him talking about the business owner side of things as well, when he talked about the pressure of making sure that you're not only providing for your family, but your employees' families as well. And I just, based off of the social media engagement and reactions to that, that's something that a lot of people related to, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially when you're going through all the COVID and all these things and not having to lay anybody off. That's a huge testament to a good, successful business owner and somebody that is actually taking care of their employees, regardless of what, other people think about them. And then on top of that, you can't always ask and take and take and take, right? You do have to give. And that goes back to one of our episodes of The Go-Giver. The more you give, the more you get, right? And there's people in this world, and we come into contact with them. I don't know if it's on an everyday basis, but we definitely do. And they're leeches. There's people that we come in contact with that all they do is take, and they never give. And your inner circle, that's why it's so important to evaluate everybody you keep around yourself, because there might be somebody there that's not giving what they're receiving as well. So shout out to Matt coming on here. Great guy. Hope he's doing good with the TV show and everything.
Yes, sir. He's about to be a TV star.
They got the season 2 going right now as well. So, but no, shout out to Matt. That was awesome having him on as well. And to all the other guests that we've had on, like Daquan said, so appreciative. We could talk about every one of the guests that we've had on here the same way that we talked about these 6 people. And, maybe that's something we'll do in the future as well.
Absolutely. And we're, like Zachaeus just said there, we are very appreciative of everyone that took the time out of their day, whether it was in the morning, midday, at night, and you came and you joined us and you helped, really us build this platform.
Right.
While, of course, we wanted to give back to you guys and make sure that your voices were heard. And so many of your voices were heard. So many people have been able to see the light that you guys have been able to give, and the the key things to success,
Right.
you know, that everyone has, I mean, it's value. And you guys were able to provide that to so many people, more than you even know.
Right.
It doesn't matter about the likes, doesn't matter about the shares. I'm telling you, people are watching this and people see you guys doing everything that you can to be a better individual, not to just society, but for yourself, because
Right.
you need to be a good individual to, I mean, I believe in karma, but every single
Facts.
person that we had on is a great individual. And again, I just can't say it enough. We really appreciate you. And we didn't get to all 19 of our guests on here.
I do actually. I just want to shout them out. The ones that
Let's
we
do
did.
it.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough time to really dive in and go through everybody like we did those first 6. But I want to shout out our first guest that we had, Wesley Benoit. You know, he talked a lot about, and the thing I took away most from that was just the different hats that we all wear in our everyday life, and
Man of many hats.
yeah, and how that can really be a tough balancing act for people. But
Manny Gutierrez.
Manny, my guy, Coach G,
Yes.
Coach Manny.
Yes.
Yeah.
The energy.
man, great energy, great guy, really helping our youth, especially here in this community, grow and turn into awesome individuals. Albert, you know, Heising, my guy, always does a review on our podcast, and that's something I really appreciate. Of course, we appreciate everybody that listens, but he takes the time to really write kind of like a review on each one of our episodes and his takeaway, and that's awesome on our end to get that type of feedback. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Cameron Young.
Cam,
Man, the resilience there as well. There's a lot that goes on in everyone's lives. I think he's definitely endured a lot of things, but he stayed positive and he continued to truck through these things. And you can't ask, I mean, for much more from any individual, especially any human.
and he's running successful business.
He
as
is.
well. Yep.
And so shout out to him. Devontae Clay, the class clown, my guy.
Clay.
Let's go. My first enemy turned into friend.
Right.
Man.
Shout out to my guy,
DJ Clay.
Sandbox
DJ
baby.
Dante. DJ Devontae.
DJ Vontae.
DJ Vontae.
We can't forget our guy Tony Gucci, the guy
Hey.
saving my life every month with the cuts.
Gucci Cuts.
Hey, shout out to Gucci. You know, he's somebody that definitely is having a big impact on our community. Yes, this guy is booked out. If you've gone on the Cut app and tried to book a haircut with Tony Gucci, good luck.
Seriously.
Good luck. This guy's booked out, and you know that's just a testament to the work he does. Also, how awesome of a guy he is.
You have to sit there and click refresh just to wait to see if someone canceled.
When I get my cut, I ask him his next availability so that I can get it on the books a month ahead of time.
You shouldn't have put that out there in public. Now everybody is.
Hey, I'm trying to help everybody overstep
true.
whatever they're going through.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, the next one, Tyler Blake, Mr.
Blake.
Creative.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
he is building his own success.
Yep.
Well, him and, of course, Mona Lisa.
Yeah, and they're expecting a child as well.
They
so
are.
shout out to them.
Congratulations. Shout out to them.
Yeah, big. And we can pair Mona Lisa in that as well. You know, she was very vulnerable coming on here, and somebody that I personally feel like is really pushing for change in the community, pushing for other creatives to have a space that they can go and express themselves,
Yes.
which I think is important.
Love thyself.
Yep. Jordan Tarleson.
Let's
Sioux
go.
Falls window cleaning. My
Get him,
guy.
JT.
Yeah, from him I learned to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he talked about scoffing at the idea of cleaning windows,
Yep.
and now it's what he does as a profession,
Yep.
right? And that takes your own reflection and understanding that you're not too good for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be in the same place as everybody else. It's just a few decisions that make the difference. And
Right.
I learned a lot from that one as well.
And taking a huge step to out of comfort. You know, obviously he had, I mean, state employees, their benefits are huge.
Yeah.
And for you to go on your own and leave that paycheck, that guaranteed paycheck, those guaranteed benefits, and to build something of your own, like for anyone to do that is just insane to me to
Right.
think about. Because I mean, you have to have a lot of guts. You have to have a lot of spirit. You have to have a lot of, I mean, really just positivity that that confidence that whatever you're going to do, you're going to make sure that it's successful. And that's exactly what he did with Sioux Falls window cleaning. Do not forget to book them, because I know your guys' windows be dirty. I be walking around here and I'm looking at people's windows. I'm like, dude, are they purposely not wanting people to look in?
Man, that's why I don't invite you over.
Oh, shoot.
My bad, Jordan.
And the next one, Bobby Lord Peacock.
Man,
Let's go. Another creator. I mean, to have videography, to be able to be part of so many different businesses and bring value into them.
Right.
To have a nonprofit business, those are tough. Those are very tough. And to just be successful in everything that he does. I know he might be also in the market looking for a lady friend. I think he said something about a stepmom or something. Hey,
he's a package.
Yo,
he has a son with them, but no, he's a great guy.
He is.
I was really excited to sit down with him because I've known him from afar for so long, but never actually was able to sit down and have a real conversation with him. And man, just like you guys have been through a lot of things, and just to hear your guys' story, and when you hear those stories, you can't help but think like, damn, how could I give up if they didn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a very powerful story for him. And you're right. He is doing a lot of great things, helping a lot of businesses. And that leads us into a business he's helping with Preaches.
Yes.
With Jonathan Vasquez.
Yes.
That was awesome having him on as well. Somebody who they just had their 1-year anniversary. He was just out in Colorado for another event. The only sneaker seller out at this, I think it was in the Rockies, something like that, Battle in the Rockies or something.
Yep.
But, him coming on here, sharing a lot of his experience of not even wanting to come to the Midwest and not wanting to leave the people he is closest to because he was comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? He was comfortable. And sometimes it takes the risks that we don't think are ever going to amount to anything. Those are sometimes the risks that we need to take to amount to our purpose and our truest self. So
it is.
Shout out to him.
Kylie Halverson.
Yeah, Kylie Halverson.
Let's go.
She's a stud.
Yeah, she is. So listen, I said all of those statistics of people being able to make it to 1, D1 sports, to 2, a collegiate athlete. She broke all those. And what she did is she made a name for herself while doing that. And not only just, of course, in sports, but what she does for the community. I see her coming back here teaching kids softball, my apologies there, and dedicating her free time to do these things. I know that athletes, especially when you get into these NIL deals, there's a lot that is expected out of you. Right. So for her to be able to go above and beyond always and be able to provide something of not just in her sports nature, but outside of that, like that is huge, because these youth, they're looking up to us. They want to be us. We're their idols. And I know she is an idol for many of these kids, seeing exactly what she's doing and making her imprint in the softball world. So
yeah, absolutely. I think I have written down dedication, resilience, just staying with it. In high school, changing your schedule to where you're up at 5 o'clock every day and you're getting a workout in before as a sophomore or junior, that's another level of dedication that a lot of people won't ever have in their entire life. So for her, definitely was blessed to have her on, and good luck to her this season down in Arkansas with the Razorbacks. I hope they go all the way and bring the hardware home.
Yes, what is that? Woo Pig Sui?
Something like that.
Something like that. I
don't even know.
Shoot.
All I know is USD.
Coyotes. Ooh. And that brings us to our last one, the Logan Welch.
Logan Welch, one of my good friends, someone I've known for a long time. I think of her, as a bridge for change. She does some work with nonprofits as well. And again, I brought it up, and there's multiple people that have questioned why we've had some of the people on the podcast, but she was one of them, and she knew that. And when I see Logan or think about Logan, I think of somebody that wants change, somebody that is not only wanting change, but she's absolutely willing to help. She's somebody that, I can pick up the phone if we need some help, or whether that's connecting with somebody, or if it's an event that we got going on, or even just questions on a business. She's somebody that we're able to go to, and she's completely open about it. She's not gatekeeping information, and she's just a real person. I think a lot of people don't really realize that sometimes.
So there are the 19 individuals that we had on here as our special guests.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much again for being on. We're so forever grateful. And of course, you as well. I mean, you're going to be on the listeners, the viewers, but also just these special guests. You're going to be on the internet, and people are going to look you up, and they're going to see what a special person you are and how you got there,
right.
And that story, and that makes us special. You know, that makes us different individuals. That makes us us. So we appreciate you. Now, lastly, before we end this episode here, again, we are going to start season 2. Yes, you heard that right. Season 2, episode 1, Mayor Paul Tenhaken. But not only on that, I want you guys to know that for just a few weeks here, as we are preparing for season 2, there will be just a couple weeks that we will not have any episodes going out, but we will actually be putting out content for all of our previous episodes that we had. You'll see the reels, you'll see the posts and whatnot, and we're going to get you guys real fired up and excited for season 2, because we're bringing some special things here, and the energy is going to be live.
Man.
So be ready.
They thought the first season was good. I'm excited for them to see what we got for the second season. You know?
I am too.
There's going to be some changes. There's going to be some new things. Obviously, we're going to have some new guests, and I want to put it back out to our viewers and whatnot. If there's questions you have, or people you want, or ideas you want on our podcast, please reach out. Let us know. We get better with the feedback. You know, there's things that people share that can help us become a better podcast, become a better platform. And yeah. So before we do end the podcast, though, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
What is the biggest thing you learned from all the guests as a whole? When you take away from that part of season 1, what do you take away?
I take away perspective, man. I was big on perspective even before we even started here, but just to have each individual on here, and each of them, I kept asking, you know, what does overstepping poverty mean to you? They all had a different perspective. And I noticed that every single time that someone answered this, like, I'm like, wow, that's so right. Like, that's so true. I didn't even think about it in that way.
Right.
You know, and it's so good that everyone has their own mind, that everyone has their own way of thinking. And that allows us to let those thoughts, let those statements that they're saying, like, really resonate with us. And that's what I really enjoyed. And so when you have just all these different individuals who came up in a different way, who were able to get to successful in different ways, it teaches you a lot of things. So I was very appreciative of that. And I keep saying that word, appreciative, but you guys don't know. Like, I'm telling you, I'm giddy about this. I love doing this every single week because it's a different person with a different perspective. And I love that.
Yeah,
how about
there's
you?
A lot of learning. For me, you know, the biggest thing I take away from it is I think it proves exactly what we were trying to prove, in that we all have so much more in common than where we come from, or the color of our skin, or what we do for a career, right? Like, there's so much in this world that is meant to try to divide us, whether it is, you know, social media, or it is politics, or it is whatever. You know, I view this as a way to show everybody that, you guys, we're very similar. There's so much more that we can do together than can be done if we're not together, right? And that's the biggest thing I take away from this, is we just have to continue to come together, and we have to continue to be a good neighbor to people, and try to have conversations with people. You don't need a podcast to have deep conversations and to gain a true perspective on somebody, on why they are the way they are, or why they're behaving the way they're behaving. I mean, there's many different things that go into that, but at the end of the day, majority of people, whether you're on the right, the left, the middle, we all want the same thing, and that's to be able to come home to our families and build a life that we want to live, and leave a better world for our children and their children, right? So at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and I think there's a lot that can be achieved if we just come together.
I gotta click this button for that. Oh, wait. That was the wrong button. See, I should never be in charge of the keyboard, but I was giving some claps out there. I love that. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yes.
For sticking with us through season 1. As you guys know, season 2 is coming at you. So we will see you guys then in a couple of weeks here. So until next time, we'll see you on Overstepping Poverty.
And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. See you on the 22nd of September.
Let's go. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Overstepping Poverty. We hope you found this week's discussion informative and thought-provoking. We know that tackling poverty is a complex issue, but by working together and understanding the root causes, we can make progress towards creating a more equitable society. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our show. Until next time, let's take the next steps in Overstepping Poverty.